Hey everyone, thank you for watching or listening to the brand new episode of the What Are We Watching podcast. Hey Carlin, what are we watching this week?
Danger and Thunder.
Danger and Thunder. It's the episode where Henry Danger and the Thundermans join forces or collide. Who knows? Stay tuned and find out what happens next.
Yeah, Carlin turns on the TV, Christian flips off the screen, cause there's no good children's shows that he's seen. We've got dogs with blogs, superheroes in the ER. All dads are dumb and kids have better PR. Carlin just smile, Christian sits with the scowl. He complains to his son, all the kids should suck now. They sit and discuss the show's plus and minuses while you listen or watch on YouTube to the arguments. Who is right? Is it the son or the dad? Either way you get to laugh knowing Christian is mad. So pull up a chair, get the corner poppin'. Here's a new episode of What Are We Watching?
All right, how are you doing, Carlin?
Good.
All right, a brand new episode. How are you feeling about this episode?
Surprised.
This was a long show we watched. It's an hour-long episode. Usually we watch half-hour shows. And what was your overall feeling when you were done watching Henry Danger Season 2, Episode 17?
I thought it was really cool. I just wish they had more episodes, but then I guess it would make it really special.
Oh, you wish they were together more often.
Yes.
All right, well, we're just going to dive into this. No talking about our life and all of that. We are jumping right into this episode because it's a big one. Henry Danger, Season 2, Episode 17. If you need to know what we're watching the previous week, go to whatawewatching.com. In our mini episode, we recap our last week's show. We talk about some fun things about it. We shout out to people that shout out to us and give away free prizes, and then we tell you what we're going to be watching. All right, this one was titled Danger and Thunder because it was Henry Danger joined by the Thundermans. Now, I got to tell you, right at the beginning of the show, they had a montage, right, of all the things happening in, what was their town's name?
Swellview.
Swellview. Swellview, not Swellview. It's Swell.
It was close.
Okay, Swellville. So, Swellview, whatever. Okay. So, they had a montage of everything that was happening because of all the guys that Henry Danger and... here's the thing that drove me nuts. Captain Man. Okay, we have done an episode of the Thundermans before on the podcast, and we've done an episode of Henry Danger on the podcast.
Just get used to it.
I like the Thundermans. We talked to Chris Tallman for an hour from the Thundermans. Super cool guy. It was awesome. But here's the thing that bothers me about Henry Danger. Captain Man is the name of the superhero. Every time they say it, I hate it more. Every time they say it, I hate it more. Captain Man. He's indestructible.
Said it 5 times.
Why is his name not Indestructible Man? Captain Indestructible. Captain, you can't blow me up with a bomb. I'm skipping ahead, spoiler alert. Captain whatever. Captain Man is the worst name in superhero history. Hands down. We get in the podcast
It is not, no.
What's the worst name in superhero history?
Puke Man.
There is no Puke Man.
Yes, there is in the book I read. It was one of Oliver's books.
It opens with a montage with them having a crime wave, basically. And the daughter of the Thundermans, or of Thunderman, what's her name? Phoebe. Phoebe Thunderman.
I keep getting ready to say
way to hide your superhero identity. Thunderman, naming yourself Thunderman. Okay, so Phoebe is watching this on her TV in her town, and her parents are out of town with the little kids, and she sneaks away to go help with the crime wave in Swellview, right? Okay, and her brother Max is talking about how awesome a gun that one of the evil villains has made, and he wants that gun.
Yes.
Why?
But I was surprised, one of the things I noticed is if he really wanted it, he could just kick some butt and take it.
We'll talk about that in a minute, definitely. But even Phoebe says, why do you want what is it, the Helionator or Heliumator? It's a gun that can float things, okay? It's a gun that can float things. Tell me, Carlin, what is one of the powers that the Thunderman twins have?
Telekinesis.
And they can do what?
Levitate things. Yes.
She even says, why do you want this? You can float yourself. He says, yeah, but you can float a car. You can float this. You can float that. In the very beginning, while they're talking, he floats her zipper around her book bag and undoes her zipper to let her clothes fall out to prove that she's sneaking out. Why does he need a gun that can do that? Explain it to me right now.
You know what? I'm not really sure, but he's nerdy like that.
It was ridiculous that he wants a gun that can do what his superpowers can do. Okay, so she goes to Swellview, and it cuts to Captain Man, horrible name still, and Henry Danger. Henry Danger at least has a cool name. Danger Boy or whatever they call him. And so they jump to them.
Captain Man just calls him Kid.
Yeah, they jump into the lair, and Schwaz, who's the ugly...
He's trying to look like Jesse from Full House.
He thinks he looks like Jesse from Full House. That actually made me laugh, because the girl that's their friend says, Schwaz, you do not look like Uncle Jesse from Full House. All right, that made me laugh. Okay, so their secret lair is underneath the store that they have, the fake store that they have called Junk and Stuff. And who breaks into Junk and Stuff?
The three muchachos.
The three muchachos. And they've got like Mexican wrestling masks on.
But they're Canadian?
Yeah. Did you notice that?
Yes, that's what I was confused about.
They have luchador masks on, which are Mexican wrestlers. They are called the Three Muchachos, and they are
Canadian. But like they sound Mexican?
No, they sound Canadian. That's why they were talking like this. That's a Canadian accent. So they're in Mexican luchador outfits, and they're Canadian. And it makes no sense, and it's supposed to be funny. No. Okay, so, and then the, I want to call him something other than Captain Man, but, the Captain Man and the guys in the lair just set off a bunch of booby traps.
Instructable Man. Just call him that.
No, I'm not giving that to them. So they set off a bunch of booby traps to catch the three muchachos upstairs, right?
Yes.
Like one shoots fire at him, one shoots air in his face, and then they drop what on them? Hoses or?
They said use the hose,
Yeah,
and I was
they
like,
drop stuff on them. Okay.
sticks on them.
So they catch them. They catch the guys upstairs in Junk and Stuff. Okay, and then when they bring the muchachos down, they ask them what's going on. Like, why are you here? What do they use? This is the craziest thing I've seen in a show. What do they use to torture the three muchachos to get information out of them?
A sweaty man who loves onions, and he will hug you if you do not tell them what they want.
They have booby traps set up all over the place. The Captain Man is indestructible. He could use his strength. They have gadgets galore. And what do they use to get them to talk? They get a fat guy on a treadmill.
It's supposed to be funny, too, though.
They get a fat guy on a treadmill or an elliptical machine, and he's eating onions, and they have him hug people in masks and outfit that will keep the sweat off of them. And
It's still nasty.
That's what they give him to talk. It's got to be one of the oddest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be funny.
Okay.
And it was like a fat man running on a treadmill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real funny when I'm running on a treadmill. Yeah.
Not when you are.
You call me fat.
I did not.
I heard it in my head.
No.
Okay. Henry's sister is also in this episode in the B story. What's the B story about? Let's just knock out the B story right now.
So she gets text to something. Textneck.
What is
where she
Textneck?
has to wear this cone around her head because she's been bending down looking at her phone the whole time.
Okay, here's the thing. I have a real problem with Henry's sister, okay? The way she talks to her dad is horrible. And I know in these shows they make the dads out to be...
And he didn't even do much about it.
I know. They make these dads out to be dumb as it is in these shows and the kids to be smart, wisecrackers, and the way they talk to their parents, I'll give them a little bit, but she just was telling her dad, don't change the channel. And he's like, why? You're not even watching it. You're watching your laptop and you're texting. I'm still watching it. And he just let it happen. there would be no laptop or computer, not only in her hand, but
Not
in that
for me.
house, because I would have thrown it in the garbage. Okay, and then she ends up getting Textneck, where she can't move her neck because she's been so in her screen so long, and they put her in a cone, like a dog cone. And
Yes.
she's still barking orders at her dad when she comes home. Get the door, do this, do that, do that. And he just puts up with it. She wouldn't have Textneck, she would have no neck, because I would destroy that girl. Oh my gosh, that I hate the daughter in the
I
show.
always hated her.
I hate the daughter in the
Like,
show.
but it's still
Not saying I
weird.
hate the real girl.
But I've seen so many episodes, it's weird. In one of the episodes, she's actually in the opposite universe. She's really nice.
Oh, they have an opposite universe? Well, that's the opposite universe of the show is what I want to watch, because everything
do
about it would be different.
But then Captain Man is evil and stuff.
Fine,
And
it's a stupid name. He deserves to be evil and get beaten all the time. All right, so is Henry Danger? Henry always in danger? I don't know. What is
pretty much is.
Okay, so
Like his sister is Danger.
let's wrap up this B story right now. She has Textneck. They have the idiot friend of Henry's come over and help her do her texting. Jasper, he's a moron in every episode, right? I mean, he got a
Life
ladybug
hacks.
stuck up his nose. Okay, so he comes over to help her text message her friends because she can't do it. She can't even eat spaghetti. She's throwing it in her cone, rolling a meatball around, doing dog tricks. I think I've seen that in animated show about animals having those before. And he ends up texting the wrong kid and inviting him to the party. And what's that kid's name? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Booger Steven. He was supposed to invite a kid named Steven, and he invited what she called Booger Steven. So it's an unpopular kid. He invites her to this girl's sushi party. Do kids have sushi parties now?
Lucas, his birthday party, we had sushi.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. We had sushi.
What is the world coming to? Okay, so she invited the wrong kid to the sushi party. Her friends are now so angry they're texting her that they hate her. Yeah?
Yes.
Which honestly, I was with them on hating her, but still, as a show, maybe that's not the best thing. And then they all come in a mob, like against Frankenstein's monster, and they want to beat her up, right?
Yes.
They said, we're going to get her. What did they say? Physically, right?
Yes.
Physically beat her. And then Henry's friend, Doofus, takes...
Jasper.
Jasper the Doofus, takes credit for, or the blame for sending the wrong kid the message. They take him behind the couch and they beat him down.
Yes.
Yes, and it's like clothes are flying, fists are flying, and these little girls, this like 9-year-old tag team of Fight Club girls, comes and beats this older boy up just because he invited an unpopular kid to a party.
That
So I'm
picks his
curious.
nose.
They never like said anything bad about that. You know, a lot of these kid shows do like morals of the story, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have lied. Hey, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. They never said anything about how bad and ridiculous it was for these girls to be upset about inviting this unpopular kid. Granted, he was a booger eater, but
well, that was the B story. It's
How
like
about it
the
doesn't
A
matter?
story was
how about the daughter has never learned a lesson in this episode? She was rude to her dad. She's always got her nose stuck in text messaging and her screens. She still had somebody text message for her while she was technically supposed to be getting better, but maybe in punishment in the cone. And the dad just let it all happen, and she never got in trouble for anything.
she didn't.
I know that sounds great in your world, like if you got to do whatever you wanted to do and never got in trouble for anything, but realize how you would never learn a lesson in life, you know?
Yeah.
This girl is horrible. She's a bad example, and if she's going to be a bad example character, I'm fine, but at least make an example out of that character.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got to say about it. Hate the character of this girl. Okay, so that is the story of the B story. All right, A story. Back to A story. What does the Danger team do to with the Mucha Lucha Canadians?
They beat them up with the anti-burglar things.
Well, they did that already. So what do they decide to do when they find out there's a meeting of super bad guys in the city?
They take their costumes and
decide to infiltrate.
Yeah, so while they're trying to sneak out of the junk and stuff, the guy who was fixing the plumbing or air conditioning or something, they scared him, and they were trying to tell him that he wasn't.
That they were good guys, right?
And Phoebe comes in, and she changes into her Thunderman outfit and comes in.
I think she was already in it, wasn't she? I'm not sure.
She ran back and then real quick she came back.
I missed that. Okay, so they get into a fight with the Thunderman girl.
Yes.
Okay, now this is the first time we get to see some real good special effects. No, that's not true. When she was fighting with her brother about coming to the town, to Swellview, they each use their finger to lift each other up in the air, right? And then drop each other down. So that was a little bit of special effects where they had to use some harness work in real life. And then we get to see her push one of the Danger team out of the way, knock one of them in the head.
Max opened the zipper and...
Well, yeah, that happened. But she hits one of them in the head with like a clock. And then, I didn't know, but she has freeze breath.
Yes, she does. I saw one of the episodes.
And she uses freeze breath on Captain Man, worst name ever, #worst name ever. And that actually looked pretty cool, right?
Yes.
I mean, it was obviously green screened in.
In one of the episodes, it's not just freeze breath, but when she accidentally froze Max, she like unfroze it, sort of.
Oh, okay. So she's got heat breath and freeze breath?
I think so.
All right.
I'm not exactly sure, but that's what it looked like.
Okay, so she freezes Captain Man, and then he breaks out of it, and she goes, "How could you do that?" You know?
I just went, "Ah!"
He said, "I just went raw, and I'm Captain Man." Then, "Oh, you're so cool." And then Henry, there was like the silly story about Henry being upset that his girlfriend moved away. Who cares? And then he wants to basically put the moves on Phoebe Thunderman. Okay, so he wants her along. Their friend didn't want to be in a costume and go to the bad guys, so she said, "She can wear my outfit." And we're good. Okay, so all of the good guys are now dressed up like bad guys, and they are going to infiltrate, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So they get to the bad guy's lair, and they don't know who called the meeting. And who was it, the big bad, that called the meeting?
The unbelievable toddler.
The toddler. Okay, the unbelievable. What do you mean? The unbelievable toddler?
Yes.
You're adding to his name? Okay. So the toddler was supposedly like destroyed or killed, actually. They kind of made it sound like they thought that Danger Man killed the toddler. And it turns out that
That sounds sad if you had, like, you just hear it. Danger Man killed the toddler.
Danger Man killed a toddler. Coming up on the 6 o'clock news, Danger Man kills a toddler. That would make me love the show. I've been to so many play areas with your brother that I have seen horrible toddlers that I would love to see Danger Man just choke out. How did you choke out that toddler? I just choked him. Wow, we're on some dark stuff on the podcast this week. Okay, so Toddler says that he threw him into his like never-ending ball pit, which obviously isn't true because it had to end for it to stop. And then he crawled his way out of the earth. Now, what happens when he crawls out of the sandbox in the middle of a playground that we were both laughing about?
The children are scared and start running.
Yeah, the children scream that are in the sandbox and run off, and then what did they pan to with the camera?
The adults, they were just sitting there, all of them with their phones.
The moms, just staring at their phones, didn't hear the children screaming, didn't care that the children were screaming. All 4 moms are just sitting there.
And weren't surprised that a man came out of the sandbox.
Didn't even notice, because they were so on to their text messaging, which I have been to playgrounds with you and your brothers.
They should have, what's called, Textneck.
Textneck, with the cones.
Yes.
Now that I did like, that they kind of took the B story, looped it around to the A story, and showed that these parents are also attached to their phones and stuff. Now, this is the writers being smart and kind of putting a message out there. What did I say? They should have made a message out of the daughter. Like, how she's rude to her parents and stuff like that and always texting. The writers were putting this for the parents. They were like, hey, you do it too.
Yeah.
You were constantly texting. You're not paying attention to your kids. I think that was smart, and I love the writers for doing this because I've taken you to the playground. I see this all the time. Parents just
And at the mall.
At the mall
seen
all the time,
people.
and I try not to do it. And I've even told you if I'm doing it, tell me because I don't want to be doing that. I want to be present in your life. So I will always love the writers for this show. It's almost enough for me to forgive Captain Man's name. It's not. Hashtag
Oh,
worst thing
come
ever.
on.
Okay, so they are meeting at the bottom of the lake, and you were like, I think that's green screen. And I said, yeah, do you think it's green screen?
Well, I wasn't
You don't
thinking
think
about
they
the
built
bottom of the lake,
You don't
but
think
like,
they built a set at the bottom of the lake? Yeah, it's green screen. Okay, so let's just jump through this. The bad guys are there, and who is with the toddler? Who surprises the Phoebe Thunderman and Captain Man? Who was with toddler?
Max.
Max, who's supposed to be a good guy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He's working with the toddler all because he wants that gun that the other bad guy
levitates
makes.
you and
That does the exact same thing his superpowers does.
yes.
So stupid. The heliumnator or whatever it is. I don't think it was called an inator.
Heliometer.
Yeah, it was
I
called a
think.
heliometer, but I like Phineas and Ferb, so we are now calling it the heliuminator.
Heliometer. Oh, and it makes their
the
voice,
platypus?
but his powers don't make their voice.
Yeah, it makes his voice go up because of helium too. Okay, so Max is there just to steal this gun that he wants, which kind of makes him a bad guy.
Yes.
Let's face it. He's the worst bad guy. And then he gives up. Okay, now here's the thing. You're right. He could have used his powers, you said early on, to get the gun.
Yes.
Not only does he not use his powers to get the gun,
But
he rats out Captain Man and Henry Danger.
like, how rude is that? You're a superhero.
He's a super villain. Max is horrible. I will say Max is technically worse than Henry's sister. Because not only is he rude, he actually gave up the good guys to the bad guys.
Yeah.
That's a super villain move. All right, so they decide to capture Captain Danger, or Captain Man, sorry. Captain Danger would have been a better name. If it's called Henry Danger, why not? We're calling him Captain Danger from now on. So they decide to capture Captain Danger.
That just made me think
They put him, what?
that if they call him Henry Danger and like he only has a face or eye mask,
yeah.
wouldn't they realize that he's
Of course they
Henry?
would. That's the whole Superman Clark Kent
Like
arc.
it has Henry
I
Danger.
know. It's so well, they call him like Danger Kid, right? Or Kid Danger. So why not call him Captain Danger? Okay, we're calling him Captain Danger. So they take Captain Danger and they put him on a train full, put him in cement, and he tells them that you can't kill me, I'm indestructible. And they're like, fine.
Then we can torture you.
Yeah, well, they said you'll live at the bottom of the lake forever. That's actually a pretty solid plan. Take someone that can't die, put him in cement, dump him in the bottom of the lake, he can't move. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good plan. Smart plan on the toddler's part. Now, when they went to commercial break, they talked about the green screen that they filmed it in front of.
Yes, and the train actually shook.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. The actors were talking about the green screen. So it took them 2 days to film this episode, or the scene of this episode, the fight scene.
Yes.
So it actually shook and moved around. It was this gigantic green screen room that they have in Hollywood. Very, very awesome. Or Toronto, wherever they filmed this. So that was pretty neat that they showed you a peek into how it was made, right?
Yes.
We always love that. So they're on the train. This is the finale. This is the fight scene. Max is there with the bad guys. Captain Danger wants to blow his nose. Max has to help him. I don't know why they had to put that in there. It made no sense. It didn't add anything to the story. And then a helicopter comes in with Kid Danger and Phoebe Thunderman. Right?
Yes.
And they and Henry decides that he wants to go down on the rope with her hugging him the whole time, and his friend's like, she's got her own rope, and he's like, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Charlotte.
Because he wants to make time with the Thunderman girl. Okay, so they go down and tell me what happens during the fight scene.
In the fight scene, Max tries to steal the gun out of the toddler. He's like, you want to change me. And like, that was weird.
Yeah, he was grabbing for the gun, and Toddler thought he was grabbing for his diaper, and he goes, do you want to change me? And he went, no. And the Toddler went, good. Which says to me the toddler has pooped in his diaper and wants to stay in it. That is disgusting. And it also made me love this. I loved it. The toddler is a grown man. Well, he's not obviously grown tall. That's why they call him the toddler. He wears a diaper and like a onesie.
It's like, is that a real diaper?
He wears a onesie and a diaper, and he wants to sit in his dirty diaper. That is just so disgustingly funny to me that there are things the writers did with the show that I really liked. And the mom's text messaging and the dirty, dirty toddler, that's funny because there are toddlers like that they're like, I don't want to change. I just want to sit in it. It's like, you're gross. You're disgusting. Okay, so the gun ends up getting knocked off to the train car behind them.
Yes.
And then they're fighting, and then, like I said, we try not to discuss stuff during the show while we're watching it, but we both had this conversation, right? What were you saying about the gun and Max trying to get the gun?
He could have used his powers the whole time. He just could have kicked butt and got the gun. Like, he could have at least helped Phoebe and them.
Exactly.
And still kicked butt and got the gun.
Exactly.
I'm like,
he should have helped his sister. She showed that her freeze ray wouldn't work because she was downwind of the train, so she's facing the front of the train. The train's going. She couldn't use a freeze ray or freeze breath because it was so fast. Of course, if she had just walked up to the front of that train car and blown it backwards,
or she could have gone closer because you see how far it went.
Of course she could have. That made no sense. But they were just setting up that the freeze breath wasn't working. That's fine. But he could have used his freeze breath on the gun. Could have frozen it to where it was. He could have used his telekinesis to lift the gun into his hand. There's all kinds of stuff that could have happened that didn't. Okay, so the good guys end up winning.
But Max being with the toddler gives a surprise.
Yeah.
But at least they could have got another surprise and he joins Henry Danger and blah blah blah.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess. The stuff that they were doing. So they exploded the cement that Captain Danger was in. He fights the toddler, throws him off of a moving train, which should kill a human being, by the way. We watched murder. And then they said, well, now it's 6 against 3. What
he killed the toddler.
Okay, well, here's the craziest thing. He killed the toddler. Here's another crazy thing. They said, it's 6 against 3. What are you going to do? And Phoebe Thunderman just moves her finger just a little bit, and a person flies off the train. Why didn't she do that to everybody? Why didn't she do that to everybody right away? Shoot, 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 shoot.
Because then
by the way, she killed the person. I know they'll be back in
no more action, and you're always talking about how you want more action.
I am wanting more action, but I also want to see superpowers happen in a superpower show.
But then there wouldn't be as much action.
It's like a recent show.
So she actually did get both of what you want, superpower, fighting.
It's like another recent show we talked about, which was Bella and the Bulldogs. It's a football show that doesn't have any football. And we've seen,
but there were tricks.
We've seen superhero shows that don't have any superpowers. So, she flung a guy off. She flung a guy off. Why didn't she fling them all off? No, let's karate fight on a train instead. Okay. So they win the day, and how do they punish Max for pretty much helping supervillains, almost killing Captain Danger, and wanting to steal something that wasn't his? How do they punish him?
They make him hang by a rope or bungee cord, whatever it is.
A harness on the helicopter on the ride back. That's it. That's his punishment. And he complains about
that would actually be cool unless the tree is right there and I get hit in the face. But still, that would be cool.
He was complaining that his hair looked bad blowing in the wind. That was his punishment. He basically acted like a supervillain. He sold out his friends and the other good guy, and technically his sister because she was with them. They could have all been murdered. And his punishment...
No, his punishment should be him still on the bottom, but the helicopter riding right on top of the trees and him just getting beat up by the trees.
Yeah, him dragging him into the trees. Here's what the punishment should be. We should talk to Chris Tallman again and find out that Captain or the Thunderman ends up beating up his son the way all of the good guys got beat up because he was fighting. He got them fighting. Like, we should find out that Mr. Thunderman, like, just went thunder style on their kid the way those little girls did on that friend who text messaged the wrong kid. The kid that text messaged the wrong kid to a party, or invited
Jasper.
the wrong kid to a party, got more beat up than Max, who gave up his superpowered friends to the bad guys. That's horrible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 1 to 10. I know you love the Thundermans. I know they love Henry Danger. I know this number is going to be high. 1 to 10. 10 being the best. How would you rate this show?
15.
A 15.
Yes.
A 15.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! I want to hang you from a helicopter and dunk you in a lake.
That would be so fun.
I'm giving it a 6 because I like that they actually had some superpowers.
Okay.
We watched episodes of Henry Danger before. They didn't really show me superpowers. They didn't show a lot of action in the Henry Danger episode we watched. This had a lot more action. It had the Thundermans in it. It had freeze breaths. It was an hour long. Freeze breath. It had telekinesis. It had some cool stuff. And it didn't talk about those stupid suits that they get on with bubblegum.
The way they showed you it took them 2 days and then trained how it actually rocked.
I like the behind the scenes and the commercial breaks, that kind of stuff. It had less of the shawarma guy in it. That's good. And it was pretty cool. There were some funny jokes about the Canadians and the Mexican wrestling match.
And Schwash trying to be Jesse.
What did I say? I'm going to give it a 6. All right. So there were things I hated about the show. And honestly, I would give it a much higher rating if it wasn't for that daughter. I almost wanted to give it a nothing just for her. Okay. Hate that character. Thanks for watching or listening to the What Are We Watching podcast. Do you have anything to say, Carlin, before we go?
That this was an awesome episode.
This was an awesome episode. Who knows? We talked to Chris Tallman from the Thundermans. We might even get to talk to Phoebe and Max. That would be awesome. And then we could yell at Max for being a supervillain bad guy. All right. Thanks for listening or watching. Remember, you can check us out on iTunes, whatareWeWatching.com/iTunes, or go to whatareWeWatching.com to find all the ways you can watch or listen. Thank you, and we will talk at you next time.
This production is brought to you by the Plaid Dad Blog Podcast Network. For more information, visit us at plaiddadblog.com.